The history of the modernization of one of the major warships of the Russian fleet, the Admiral Chabanenko, which began back in 2014, has once again come into question. The project, which had high hopes, is surrounded by scandals, delays, and the ship risks being put into the permanent mothballing de facto decommissioning. According to information published by the Russian newspaper Izvestia, the completion of the construction of the large anti-submarine ship Admiral Chabanenko is once again in question. Despite expectations to return the ship to service in 2025, they cannot name an estimated time frame for the completion of the repairs. The reconstruction is taking place at the 35th shipyard, which has long been known for its sad reputation. It was here that for 7 years they unsuccessfully tried to return the only aircraft carrier of the Russian fleet, the Admiral Kuznetsov, to service. Ultimately, the ship was sent into conservation. Experts do not rule out that a similar fate could befall the Admiral Chabanenko. Russian military analyst Dmitry Boltenkov stated directly, "Everything depends on what the fleet decides. Mothballing definitely means decommissioning in a few years. Then no one will deal with it anymore." Ilya Kramnik, an employee of the Center for the Study of Strategic Planning at the IMEMO RAS, agrees with him. He emphasized that the probability of mothballing this warship really does exist. In his assessment, he described the 35th plant as a graveyard of ships where work deadlines are regularly missed, which becomes a reason for initiating criminal cases. Kramnik also added that the enterprise is in an extremely unsatisfactory state, both in terms of its technical base and its personnel and management potential. In addition, the situation is aggravated by an external problem: the reduction of funding for a number of naval programs. The repairs have dragged on for an absolutely indecent amount of time, and now the deadline for handing the ship over to the fleet is constantly being pushed back, Kramnik stated. Initially, the Admiral Chabanenko was supposed to undergo modernization, receive modern missile weapons, and change its status from an anti-submarine ship to a frigate. However, in the current conditions, these plans seem increasingly remote and unrealistic. The ghostly prospects of replacing old systems with modern developments are increasingly giving way to the prospect of the ship's final decommissioning.
A prominent Georgian journalist was convicted on Wednesday of slapping a senior police officer during an anti-government protest and sentenced to 2 years in prison in a case that was condemned by rights groups as curbing press freedom. According to Associated Press, Mzia Amaglobali, who founded 2 of Georgia's independent media outlets, was convicted in the coastal city of Batumi. She was initially charged with assault, an offense that carried a maximum prison sentence of up to 7 years. The judge found her guilty on the lighter charge of resistance, threats, or violence against a defender of the public order or other government official. The case is one of many to draw protests and international criticism in recent months as the ruling Georgian Dream Party faces accusations of eroding civil society and democratic rights in the South Caucasus nation. A visibly gaunt Amaglobali heard the verdict in the Batumi city court packed with journalists and supporters, while a protest was held outside the courthouse. Sporadic chants of "Free Mzia" broke out both outside the courthouse and in the courtroom. She was arrested January 12, one of over 50 people taken into custody on criminal charges from a series of demonstrations in the country of 3.7 million. Video shared by Georgian media outlets showed Amaglobali striking police chief Irakli Jabwadze. Amaglobali said after she was detained, Jabwadze spat at her and tried to attack her. Her lawyer told the court she reacted emotionally after getting caught in a stampede, falling, and witnessing the arrest of those close to her. She also said a police investigation was not impartial and she did not receive a fair trial. Amaglobali is the founder and manager of investigative news outlet Bachmelabi, which covers politics, corruption and human rights in Georgia.
Georgia is really at a turning point, and it is a turning point that many countries around the world are facing, where you have to decide whether you're going to vilify journalists, criminalize them, and present them as nefarious characters with malicious intent in order to control information, or whether you're going to have a public that is truly freely informed and empowered. And that is a fundamental question for every country and for Georgia specifically right now.
უნდა დაეკლინებინათ უცხოელ აგენტებს ქართული პოლიცია და ქართველი პოლიციელი და სწორედ ამიტომ ვიხილეთ ის რაც ვიხილეთ ხო ამ კონკრეტულ შემთხვევაში სახეში გაარტყეს ხელი პოლიციის უფროს ხო ერთ-ერთი მთავრობის ქალაქის პოლიციის უფროს ხო ეს რა თქმა უნდა მიზანმიმართული ქმედებები იყო ეს ყველაფერი ერთ-ერთი მთავარი ხაზი რაც აქვს გლობალურ ომის პარტიას ჩვენს ქვეყანაში არის სწორედ ძალოვანი სტრუქტურების დაკრინება. იმიტომ რომ ყველა მარტივი რამე იცის, როგორც კი დასუსტდება პოლიცია, ძალოვანი სტრუქტურები, მაშინვე სახელმწიფო არის უკვე მოშლილი.
I think the main goal of the government was to scare us, for us to leave the country or shut down or change the profession. Of course, there has been some single cases like that, but the bigger picture, what I'm looking at is everybody's being very brave and everybody's very motivated and everyone's trying to do their best to still show how this full sinking into the authoritarianism is going with Georgian dream.